You found it. You found the best Disney World planning video to watch before your 2024 vacation. If you want all the best and newest tips and tricks, that's more precious than gold, my friends, and we've been in the parks making a bunch of mistakes so we can warn you against them. Hey everybody, it's AJ for Disney Food Blog, and today is a very, very, very big day, because today is the day when I get to tell you all the best Disney World planning tips that the team and I have recently uncovered, all in one jam-packed, easy to follow along with video. Are you ready? I'm ready. Here we go. Tip number 1, now you can get 2 virtual queues for 2 of Disney World's biggest, most popular rides in the same day. You never used to be able to do that. Now you can. Ever since January 9th, when Park Pass reservations dropped for date-based ticketed guests, you can now try to snag virtual queues for both Tron Light Cycle Run in Magic Kingdom and Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind in Epcot on the same day. Back in the day, you couldn't do that. If you had a Park Pass reservation at Epcot, you'd only be able to get a virtual queue at Cosmic Rewind. That's it. But now, if Cosmic Rewind books up solid before you get the chance to grab a boarding pass for it, then you can default to Plan B and try to get the Tron virtual queue instead, or vice versa, because you don't have to go into a specific park in the morning. You don't have to go to the one that you booked. There's no booking anymore, at least for date-based ticketed guests, so you are all set to try a virtual queue in one park, and if it doesn't work out, you can get one in another. Now, you're saying, AJ, you said I could get 2 virtual queues in one day, right? Right. Yes, you can. While you can't hold 2 virtual queues at the same time, now because park hopping has changed as well, and you can park hop to any park anytime you want, you can grab that virtual queue for the first park, ride that ride, and then hop over to the second park before 1 p.m. and get a virtual queue for that ride in that park. So now you can actually ride both virtual queue rides in one day, as long as you're strategic about it. But again, remember, this only works if you're not already in a boarding group. So if your current Cosmic Rewind virtual queue is still telling you it's going to be an hour wait after the clock strikes 1 before you get the chance to ride, then you won't be able to do the Tron V queue. You basically have to ride the first virtual queue ride before the 1 p.m. drop for the second. Okay, hopefully that first tip sort of set the tone for this video. We are going deep cuts, my friends. We are telling you the newest tips and tricks, even if they're a little bit technical. Don't worry, we're going to talk you through it. Second big tip, take advantage of a hotel benefit with a new twist. I understand, Animal Kingdom. I understand wanting to wrap up the day early to rest up and get some much-needed shut-eye before having to start the whole Disney park thing all over again the next day. But it sure is nice of you to start offering extended evening hours. That's right, extended evening hours have moved into Animal Kingdom. Now, extended evening hours are available to Disney World guests staying at a deluxe hotel and are only offered for specific days in certain parks. But this is a great way to experience a ton of attractions with little to no wait. In fact, it's usually so empty in those parks during extended evening hours, it's almost creepy. In the past, this benefit was only available in Magic Kingdom, Epcot, and Hollywood Studios. But just this past November, we got to experience extended evening hours over at Disney's Animal Kingdom too. While we don't know any extended evening hours dates for AK yet for 2024, you can always keep track of the extended evening hours that are available during your trip over on the Disney World Hours and Events calendar online. And here's another pro tip for you. If you do go to one of the parks during their extended evening hours, you'll see QR codes posted where you can download menus of the restaurants that are actually still open, since that can be few and far between. Now, this is one that I have been confused on for a very, very long time, so I'm glad to share it with you. And the confusion is basically because it's just not something that sticks in my brain. Now, I like to make your life as easy as possible, which means sometimes I have to drive myself to Disney Springs and experience the chaos that is the Disney Springs parking garages just for you. So here's the tea. If you want to park on the Disney Springs parking garage level that'll lead you right up to the security check and on into the shopping district without a whole lot of extra walking, aim for level 2. And that's for both the Lime and Orange parking garages. Level 2 will lead you directly to the escalator or elevators that'll take you down to the shopping district. The other levels are fine to park in, but you will have to make your way either up or down to level 2 after you park in order to exit the parking garage and start your shopping adventure. Also, don't forget you do have to go through security at the Disney Springs parking garage. So give yourself that extra time. If you are running late for a reservation or something like that, make sure you give them a call and let them know you're going to be a little bit extra, because even after you park, it can be another 5 to 15 minutes to get through security. Next tip, don't miss out on the actually worthwhile discounts. Not every 2024 discount featured on Disney World's special offers, deals, and discounts page is going to be worth your time. And that's not because they're not going to be a good deal for someone out there, but you don't need to force your trip to fit into these super specific Disney created parameters if you can make a cheaper trip for yourself without them. Let me explain. Take the new free dining plan promo, for instance. Disney Plus subscribers can get a free dining plan when they get a non-discounted 4-night, 4-day vacation package for arrivals most nights from July 1st to September 30th. There are more details attached to this deal that you'll want to read up on, so I'll link Disney's promo page in the description for you. Now, on paper, free dining automatically sounds like the answer to your budgeting woes, but be careful. You might actually be paying for more than what the dining discount will get you. A vacation package forces you to pay a bundled price for the Disney-owned resort and park hopper tickets. But if you were originally considering saving money by staying at a cheaper hotel off-property and getting standard park hopper tickets for your family instead, then the free dining might actually wind up costing you more money instead of being the dream promotion you thought it would be. Honestly, it all just depends on what you're after. It also takes a little extra research and maybe some math on your end to figure out if that super sweet deal you're seeing online is actually going to save you money. Super easy way to figure it out. Our friends at Small World Vacations, that's a travel agency, actually do a superb job of helping you figure out what Disney promos will actually save you money or not. And thank goodness for that, because math is not my strong suit. I am a writer. Now, if you want to reach out to them for a free quote for your upcoming 2024 vacation, or just kind of go through and see which promo is going to be best for you to save money, I'll go ahead and link their info down in the description. They are totally free to use, and we do highly recommend them. Oh, and don't forget to check your email for discounts too. There are times when Disney's discounts are way more on the DL, where only people in the know are going to know. But how will you know? By checking your email. Select guests, specifically guests who've recently traveled to Disney World, may be chosen to receive a unique offer code in their email, which you can apply to upcoming trips for a significant discount. This is kind of like back in the days of message boards for all of you people who are as old as I am. You remember when you used to get those PIN codes in your email? Yeah, it's like that. So don't go thinking that Disney's going to up and forget about you once your trip ends. They always want you back. Now, we love to see Disney making strides to improve technology instead of making it more confusing, so this nifty little change for mobile order is one we have welcomed with open arms. In the latest My Disney Experience update, you can now change the quantity of your items in mobile order with just a few taps. Once you've added things to your cart when making a mobile order, you can change the quantity of the items and make modifications as needed. Just check out the example on the screen here. Not only can you add more of a certain item to your order instead of having to individually add multiples of the same item over and over and over again, but you can also tap on the trash can button and remove an item that you no longer want in your order. Also, if you tap on the modify option, then that will take you over to the individual item page. There you can modify things like your sides and even toppings. Thank goodness. So the great thing about Epcot's new fireworks spectacular, Luminous, is that getting a good spot to see the show is not difficult. But there are still better spots than others around World Showcase that'll give you a solid vantage point of the whole show. To get the best angle of Luminous, meaning you'll get a good view of all the different effects going on both in the air and out across the water, here are the World Showcase pavilions where you should prioritize getting a viewing spot. First, the Mexico Pavilion, close to the bridge. Second, the UK Pavilion near the Rose and Crown pub. 3, the Germany Pavilion, where you might be able to snag a bench or table if you track down a spot early enough. By the way, there's a whole seating area near the Rose and Crown pub too. And 4th, the World Showcase Plaza between Disney Traders and Port of Entry, trying to get a straight-on view of the entire performance. Now, this is usually the area that Disney puts the VIPs in when they have it sort of rented out for a big VIP event. So that one's going to be less available the majority of the time, but if you can get in there, that's great. Oh, and speaking of Epcot, they have been up to a whole lot of new stuff lately, from new restaurants to new rides to shows to entirely new areas. One of those new areas is called the World Celebration Gardens, which is directly behind Spaceship Earth and features a new bronze statue of Walt Disney called Dreamer's Point, a new planter that forms the Epcot logo, lots of bench seating, and even charging ports in case you need to juice up your devices during the day or in the evening. Now, one of the coolest parts about this new area is something you can't experience until the sun sets. At night, the World Celebration Gardens light up from their new pillars and from the walkways too. That's right, glowing sidewalks are back in Epcot. Check out this illuminated area during one of the Spaceship Earth light shows, which happen every 15 minutes throughout the night. And not only will Spaceship Earth ignite with lots of pretty sparkling colors, but the Gardens lights will also sync up with the show, giving you a whole new view of an already goosebump-worthy spectacle. So, although it's great to see the Spaceship Earth show from the front, it's also incredible to see it from the back. Could you use your virtual queue later? Yes, now you can. You're probably eager to jump into the Tron or Cosmic Rewind line just as soon as you're given the all clear from the My Disney Experience app, but don't stress or worry if you are running late or if you're eating or something like that. When your boarding group number is finally called, the timing isn't always ideal. Sometimes you're in the middle of a nice meal, or you're caught in a big queue for another popular ride, or you might have park hopped to another park. Typically, when your boarding group number is called, you'll have an hour window to return to the ride and claim your spot in line. But keep your eye on that return window, because depending on when you visit, you may have a longer return time than that, so more time to get back to the ride. For example, on January 7th, one of our reporters signed up for the Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind virtual queue, and when their boarding group was called at 11:32 a.m., the app notified them that they had 2 hours until 1:32 p.m. to scan into the ride. This also happened to be the same weekend as the Walt Disney World Marathon, so the spike in crowds and traffic could have led to this change. At either rate, you'll always want to double check what your app is telling you on the day of your visit, so you'll know exactly how much time you have to return, because it might just be different than what you originally thought it would be. Now, I love this tip. This is brand new, and I use it all the time now. You can book your dining reservations even faster and have even more choice. So with many popular Disney restaurants, speed is key when it comes to successfully booking an advanced dining reservation before they all book up. And thank goodness the My Disney Experience app is going to help you pull that off thanks to one of its latest changes. Once upon a time, the advanced dining system on the app and Disney World website would only showcase a few available reservation times, depending on what time of day you searched for. So, for example, if you search for dining reservations for breakfast, certain times might have appeared, but then if you searched for 8 a.m., hidden times that didn't show up when you looked for breakfast might suddenly appear. I don't know why this happened. It was a complicated game, and I don't like complicated games. That's why I never get invited to play Risk anymore. But now, the updated version of the Disney World app features a new and improved dining reservation system. This time, it's more like OpenTable, where they show you all the reservations that are actually available. Thanks, Disney. That's helpful. So now if you check dining availability, you can actually opt to see any reservation for the whole day, or search by times like morning or before 12 p.m. or 12 to 4 p.m. or whatever. And when you search, all available times during that period will show up. How about that? No more sneaky hidden dining times. Not for us. All right, this one's a great hack for riding a brand new ride twice in one day. Back in the day, before there were virtual queues and before you had to sign up for individual lightning lanes and stuff, you could just get in line for a ride and ride it twice a day. You may have to wait 8 hours to do it, but you could do that. But once all these rules came in, it got a lot harder to ride a brand new ride twice in one day. Things like Tron and Cosmic Rewind, they might end up being your favorite rides of the entire trip, but unfortunately, you can only get one virtual queue for them each day. But you can actually cheat a little bit and ride those rides twice in a day if you're okay with splurging. On top of booking a virtual queue during either the 7 a.m. or 1 p.m. drop for free, you're more than welcome to also pay for an individual lightning lane for these rides too. So sure, you're only allowed to hold one virtual queue at a time, but it's totally okay to hold on to a virtual queue and an individual lightning lane at the same time. Individual Lightning Lanes go for sale for all Disney Resort guests. Those are people staying in Disney hotels starting at 7 a.m. daily. For non-hotel guests, you can only start purchasing those individual Lightning Lanes when the park's officially open for the day. This is crucial information for y'all out there who are already strategizing your plan of attack for riding Tiana's Bayou Adventure when it opens in Magic Kingdom later this year. Having that early individual Lightning Lane access by being a resort guest could be just the upper hand you need to secure your ride aboard the newest Magic Kingdom experience. All right, park hopping updates. On January 9th, all-day park hopping returned to guests, and people are ecstatic. But before you choose that park hopping ticket option for your upcoming 2024 trip, here are the best park hopping practices to consider to really make that extra expense worthwhile. Park hopping tip number 1, use the Multi-Genie Plus option to your advantage. While you're hitting up rides in the morning while crowds are lower in one park, book your Lightning Lanes for your next park. Yep, that means you do have to get the Multi-Park Genie Plus option if you buy it that morning. Park hopping tip number 2, consider driving yourself between parks or taking a ride share. Disney transportation can be slow, especially the buses. And if you're going park to park, you're going to have to go to a hotel first, making it unpredictable and potentially time-consuming. With driving, you are in control of when you arrive at a certain location. Now, parking is free at the theme parks if you're staying on property as a Disney Resort guest or if you're an annual pass holder, but if you're staying off property and you have a regular ticket, you will have to pay $30 for that standard theme park parking. That being said, the $30 fee is going to cover you for the whole day. So once you're ready to move on to the next park, just show a cast member at the parking lot gates that parking receipt from your first park, and they will let you on in. If you're still planning to use Disney World's free transportation to hop between parks, just keep in mind that the Disney buses don't start taking guests between parks until about 10 a.m. Park hopping tip number 3, if you're a rope drop to close kind of person, start with the park that opens earlier, usually Animal Kingdom, and finish with the last park, usually Magic Kingdom. That's the one that's open the latest of all of them, though times are going to vary by day. That way you'll get the most time in the parks as possible. Now, we just talked about taking a rideshare potentially. Here are some rideshare tips. Booking a rideshare for park hopping can be a great way to cut down on the extra Disney transportation waits that you may have to endure if you don't have your own vehicle to take you from place to place. And yes, while rideshares do cost extra, they also provide you with a private trip. And they're relatively quick, and you don't have to worry about navigating Orlando traffic yourself. But here's the thing about ride shares. They may have some hidden fees that you got to be on the lookout for, like charging extra for car seats or additional passengers. So if that's a big concern for you, then you may want to book a minivan through the Lyft app instead. Minivans are going to be a little bit more expensive than typical ride shares, but they're part of Disney's very own ride share service and can provide you with extra benefits that a typical ride share can't do. Minivans offer up to 2 car seats for no extra charge, and they're also very up-to-date, very clean, completely safe, and approved car seats, which is, you never really know what you're going to get with a typical ride share, but minivans make sure that they are using the safest, up-to-date, new car seats. And that gives the minivans a huge advantage over typical Lyfts and Ubers, which are going to charge extra for those, and you really don't know what the quality is going to be of those car seats. Plus, minivans can haul up to 6 guests for a flat fee, whereas Lyfts and Uber's lowest tier fees are for 4 passengers. And just as a little bonus, minivan drivers are indeed cast members of Disney World, so they're held to the same high standards as other cast members. They can even give informed dining recommendations and give you details about surrounding construction and goings-on around the resort. To book a minivan, you'll need to download the Lyft app. When opening the app while on Disney World property, you'll select your destination within the Disney bubble, and you should get the option to select a minivan for your polka dot ride to be. You'll see little minivans driving around on the map. Minivans won't always be the right option for your group, but you can always price compare and see which rideshare choice makes the most sense for you to book on the day of your visit. All right, here's another great park hopping tip. We've got a lot of them in this particular video because that all-day park hopping just came back. And this is a really important point that I know has burned a lot of folks in the past. You want to keep an eye on the time when you're park hopping. If you drove to your first park of the day and then decided to use Disney's free transportation to take you around to the other parks, make sure to check on the first park's hours before you abandon your car there. Transportation tends to wrap up about an hour after a park officially closes. So if you were to say start your day in Animal Kingdom, like we just recommended if you're park hopping, That park typically closes around 7 or 8 p.m. And say you end your day in Magic Kingdom, which usually closes around 11, then Animal Kingdom transportation is going to be all wrapped up for the day, leaving your car stranded in the parking lot and you're stuck in Magic Kingdom. Don't worry, you won't really be stuck. You can still pay for a rideshare to take you back over to your car, but again, that still means you can't rely on Disney's free shuttle services. So just keep an eye on the clock or plan on driving yourself place to place instead of going halvesies between your car and the Disney buses. This happens to me all the time. If I'm going to multiple parks in a day and I park at one and then I take the Skyliner or I take a bus or I walk over to another park and I totally forget that I have to go and retrieve my car at wherever the first park is, and it's a giant hassle. So just be aware. So this one's really interesting. During one of the most recent iPhone updates, you probably saw this cute little app added to your screen called Journal. And maybe you didn't pay it any mind, because I can be like that too and just delete new apps without really giving it a second thought. But I'm here to tell you that this little doodad is kind of nice to have on hand during your Disney World vacation. Journal was designed by Apple to be a private space for you to record your thoughts and impressions and trip documentations. They probably didn't think about that when they made it, but that's what we're thinking about. So much happens during a Disney day, and you're going to want to try to remember it all. So with this new Journal app, you can jot down any and all thoughts that come to mind and add photos and videos and even audio recordings throughout your day. But if that looks a bit too tedious for you, especially considering you've got so much to do during your Disney days already and you're already spending a lot of that time on your phone can pull together data from your recent activities and photos and give you suggestions to write about. Now, those precious Disney memories never have to slip your mind, and they're just going to be gathered in there. So Disney's got a bunch of new rides this year, and it's going to have another new one opening very soon with Tiana's Bayou Adventure. So how do we increase your chances of getting on the newest rides? I'll never forget when Rise of the Resistance opened, and that was the first time we had a virtual queue. And once the virtual queue was sold out, you didn't get to ride the ride. They didn't have individual lightning lanes back then. And I can remember being on the Skyliner with a dad and his daughter, and they were headed into Hollywood Studios. It was about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and they were super excited to ride Rise of the Resistance, and I didn't have the heart to tell them there is no way you're getting on it because the virtual queue sold out at 7:01 a.m. And that was like the first time that Disney ever had a situation where you may go to a park specifically to ride a ride and not be able to ride it. Anyway, with all of that new stuff that's come in, we've got tips to make sure you get on the rides you want to get on. So first, I know you can't always help when your vacation timeline falls, but if you have the flexibility and you learn about when Tiana's ride is going to open up, try to plan your trip for a couple of months after that opening ride date, especially if it's going to be a priority experience for you. The virtual queues for brand new rides will book up really fast, and so will those individual lightning lanes. Not to mention, brand new rides also come with brand new problems that cast members will have to address during the day. So even if you get a virtual queue for it, the ride is more than likely not going to be performing at its best just yet, or it could go down for hours at a time while cast members try to work out the kinks that they're still unfamiliar with. To be fair, that's all just hypothetical speak. You could still go to Magic Kingdom on Tiana's opening day and have a smooth sailing experience, or you could wait until later on and still encounter a few hiccups. No strategy is 100% flawless when it comes to getting on these brand new rides. However, just based on our experiences with new rides over the past decade, history tends to repeat itself. And more often than not, we hear about you winding up mighty disappointed by trying to get on a new ride during its opening days or even opening weekend and not being able to due to the ride being down or due to virtual queues selling out, etc. So to increase your chances of success, you may want to skip over all the initial hype and wait until things chill out a little bit. But most importantly, study up on how those virtual queues work so you won't be learning about this system the day of your park visit, which can be a huge stress in and of itself. And speaking of new rides and opening timelines, Disney can be a liar. They don't mean to be, but they can be, especially when it comes to an attraction's opening dates. Take the Cake Bake Shop, for instance, which is getting ready to open over at Disney's Boardwalk Inn, we think. Initially, Disney told us that the restaurant would be open and ready for guests by late 2023. But here we are, well into 2024, being told the Cake Bake Shop won't open until early this year, whenever that may be. And on the flip side of things, just this past August, we were originally told that Shiki-Sai Sushi Izakaya would be opening for guests in Epcot on the 30th. But when our reporters were out making their rounds around the park on the 15th, we suddenly learned that, surprise, this restaurant had a soft launch that we could attend. This kind of stuff happens all the time with new Disney things, and I mean all the time. So my best advice for you in these sorts of situations is to just keep your ear to the ground. When Disney announces an official opening date for an experience, usually they stay pretty true to that if they give you an actual date, unless they're pulling one of those soft opening stunts like I just told you about. That happens once in a while. I mean, think about when we first heard that Tron would be opening in spring 2023. Disney didn't initially specify if that was going to be an early spring, a mid-spring, or a late spring situation, so all we could do was speculate until we got the official announcement that it'd be opening on April 4th. And even then, we had a bunch of cast member and pass holder and DVC previews before that. So wait until you hear about the exact timeline for a new experience before basing your entire trip around the hope that an experience will open up by the time you get there, based on empty speculation. Let's talk next about the best seats in restaurants. Where you sit at a Disney World restaurant really does impact your whole dining experience. And if you take the new Shiki Sai restaurant in Epcot, some of those tables feature in this new restaurant some digital windows that overlook a scene in Japan, complete with beautiful fireworks displays. It is very, very cool. So if you've got reservations to dine at Shiki Sai and want to see that exclusive fireworks show, be sure to request a table at one of these, quote, windows, unquote. Now, these spots are pretty popular, so they're not always guaranteed, even if you do request one when you're checking into your reservation. But even if you're not seated at a window with this particular fireworks view, you should totally glance around the restaurant and get a peek at it for yourself. Also, Shiki Sai does have some window tables with actual fireworks views in Epcot. But again, if you're eating there for lunch, you're not going to see those fireworks, but you can request a table with the little fireworks specialty windows, and then you'll be able to see them. This sounds very confusing, doesn't it? Some tables have fake fireworks, some tables have real fireworks. Hopefully that helps. Now, how about restaurant reservations? Most of the time when I'm telling you how to make reservations for brand new Disney restaurants, you'll find me talking about how those advanced dining reservations open up for most Disney restaurants about 60 days before your trip, starting at 6 a.m. Or if you're planning on staying at a Disney-owned hotel, you'll be able to make reservations up to 60 days in advance, plus the length of your stay up to 10 days. However, what if I told you there was a way to beat the system with one of Disney World's newest restaurants? So Summer House on the Lake opened up in Disney Springs this past December. It serves up California-inspired bites, including things like pizza and pasta, fresh salad, sandwiches, and some more innovative small bites too. And while, yes, you can start making reservations for this place on the Disney World website or on the My Disney Experience app 60 days before your visit, you can actually make reservations earlier than that if you book through the OpenTable website instead. Because Summer House is technically not owned by Disney, OpenTable.com can accept reservations for this place even further in advance. And this isn't the only restaurant that OpenTable is on. There are several Disney Springs restaurants that are on that website as well that you'll be able to book earlier than 60 days out. We're just focusing on Summer House here since it's a brand new restaurant, so it may be harder to get reservations for. For example, on January 26th, we tried to make a Summer House reservation on the OpenTable site, and the furthest out we could make them was for April 25th. So about a whole extra month's worth of time right there. So take a look at the OpenTable site, search for Disney World, and see if there are any restaurants there that you want to book even earlier than that 60 days out. Ooh, we've made it to a Disney dining plan tip. There are so many different things you can spend your Disney dining plan snack credits on. Cookie pie at Main Street Confectionery in Magic Kingdom, Caramel Kusha flight at Caramel Kusha in Epcot, Dole Whip pineapple float at Tamu Tamu Refreshments in Animal Kingdom. The list is really, really long, but here's what makes the snack credit portion of the dining plan tricky. If you're wanting to do a bunch of pre-planning before you lock in your Disney dining plan purchase, which is a super smart idea, those online menus for Disney's snack kiosks and windows aren't always going to be honest with you about whether or not they take dining plan credits. We've seen many snack locations online say that they aren't dining plan eligible, when in reality, they definitely are, but only for snack credits, not for quick service or table service credits. It's very tricky and not very helpful when you're trying your best to figure out how you can make the best use of the credits you're planning to drop a whole lot of money on. So that's why our DFB snack guides, which are featured in our Everything Guide bundle over on dfbstore.com, are going to absolutely list out which Disney snacks are Disney dining plan eligible and which ones aren't, because they don't tell you that on the website. That way you're not doing a bunch of extra research. We already did it for you. If you want to check out those digital guides, which we consider to be our pride and joy because we update them as often as we can to make sure all that info is fresh out of the oven for you, then head over to dfbstore.com after this. And if you decide to buy any of those guides, which are, by the way, 100% money back guaranteed, if they're not for you, that's fine. We get it. We'll give you your money back. But if you choose to buy, use code YouTube in the little code section to get a discount on your purchase. So while some of you are going to be using the dining plan, not everyone out there is going to be relying on it to pay for their food and snacks around the parks, which means a lot of your afternoon munchies are going to be purchased out of pocket if you're not solely relying on the baggies of Goldfish and granola bars that you packed in your fanny pack. So let's find the best 2024 snacks that are tasty and filling and still fairly inexpensive. What are the best value snacks if you're not using the dining plan? Well, in Magic Kingdom, you can check out Main Street Confectionery for lots of affordable goodies, especially those fresh ones hanging out in the bakery display cases, like the icing dipped Mickey sugar cookies for about $5. In Epcot, we are big supporters of Les Halles Boulangerie Patisserie and all their different French pastries, but come on, it's really hard to beat a full baguette that's longer than our arm and was just baked this morning for less than $5. It's incredible and so good. Sorry, I just love bread. Now in Disney's Animal Kingdom, you can get just a side of crispy onion rings featured at Flame Tree Barbecue for about $5, and that's a full basket of onion rings we're talking about. Easy to share, even easier to eat. And in Hollywood Studios, y'all probably know about our love and devotion for all things tots and fried potatoes, so of course we're going to love the tachos over at Woody's Lunchbox, whether they be the breakfast kind for $9 or the lunch kind for $11. But if you just want the tots and you don't need all the extra toppings to make you happy, you can just get an order of the potato barrels too for about $5. Looking for more of our favorite Disney World snacks for 2024? You can scan the QR code you see on the screen now or head to disneyfoodblog.com/bestsnacks for our free list of top 10 snacks in each Disney World park. But the very, very cool part about this that I love is that we also have snack maps for you. Maps to every single recommended snack. So it's very, very easy to find them. These are exclusive maps. We made them ourselves and I hope you like them. Again, totally free. This particular restaurant has a lot of tips and it's brand new. So Shiki Sai is innovative in a lot of ways, but one of those is its new rewards program, which encourages guests to come back and see this ever-evolving restaurant changing its style through the seasons. It basically celebrates Japanese festivals, and so it's going to change its menu and its decor every festival season, so that's awesome. Now, Shiki Sai's membership program is free. It's going to hook you up with a stamp card, and you'll get a stamp after each visit during a new season. Once your card is fully stamped, you'll earn a secret prize. Now, we haven't earned that prize yet, but we're planning to. We just got to fill up our card first, and the suspense is killing us. We'll let you know what it is when we get it. Ooh, now here's another tricky one. You're not quite out of the Park Pass woods yet, at least not everybody is. While Park Pass reservations may be a thing of the past for most of you, it's not all of us. Park Pass reservations went away for date-based ticket guests starting January 9th. So basically that's everyone who's planning on taking a normal out-of-town vacation. You've got a ticket with actual dates on it. However, if you're using a non-date-based ticket, like an annual pass, a student group ticket, a sports or convention ticket, a military ticket, or another one, you will still need to make Park Pass reservations to save your spot in the parks before you can scan in. One of the exceptions to this rule is Disney's new Good to Go days for annual pass holders. This means that on certain days, pass holders can enter any theme park with no reservation required. You can find these Good to Go days listed on Disney's annual pass calendar online, so be sure you know when those are coming up. Disney said that they might add them as individual days or even as whole blocks of days. So if you have an annual pass, those would be great times to visit Disney World, especially if you're from out of town, if you've got a whole full week of Good to Go days. Pool hopping between the Disney resorts is typically a big no-no, except if you're staying at one of the Port Orleans hotels or one of the All-Star hotels. Port Orleans Riverside and Port Orleans French Quarter both have different pool options that their guests are allowed to jump between. This could be a major benefit for those of you who are planning on staying at French Quarter in the near future, since French Quarter's one and only pool, the Doubloon Lagoon, is closed for maintenance until April of this year. Because Port Orleans Riverside is kind enough to share, you can always hop over to their Old Man Island pool during your stay or one of Riverside's many leisure pools to get your pool fix in while Doubloon Lagoon is down for the count. Meanwhile, over at All Star Music, Movies, and Sports, it doesn't matter which All Star resort you stay at, you can visit any of the All Star pools as long as you're a guest at one of them. At All Star Music, you can hang out at the Calypso and Piano pools. At All Star Movies, you can splash around in the Fantasia and Duck Pond pools. And at All Star Sports, you can lounge the day away by Surfboard Bay and Grand Slam pools. See, the value resorts have pretty awesome perks too. Now, Disney World has been going real hard on their resort renovations lately, especially when it comes to the Disney Vacation Club Resort realm. While we're still waiting to hear more about the opening date for the new Polynesian Village DVC Tower, we do know when the revamped Fort Wilderness cabins are going to be up and running, and that's July 1st, 2024, at least for the first set of those. The cabins are going to sleep up to 6 adults and feature a bedroom, bathroom, living room, full kitchen, and private patio. Plus, a select number of cabins will also be dog-friendly, so you can bring Spot and Pluto and Fido. So when can you start booking your 2024 stay here? Well, sooner than you might think. Disney Vacation Club sales for the cabins started on February 1st, 2024 for existing members. You can add on the cabins by contacting your DVC guide or by contacting member sales. DVC members who've added on points at the cabins can begin to book sales online on February 15th, 2024. Now, if you aren't a DVC member, I know that all probably sounded like a bunch of gibberish, but don't worry. New Disney Vacation Club rooms can also be booked by non-DVC members too. The general public, that's us, will have access to the cabin sales on February 27th, and new Disney Vacation Club members whose home resort is the cabins can begin booking online or with member services on March 12th. Time to make all those glamping dreams come true. So it's not your imagination. Some Disney World restaurants will take things off their menu that you used to love or that you are anticipating trying for the first time. This happens to me all the time. And it seems like some of the menus at Disney table service restaurants are shrinking. Here are a couple that you need to look out for. When Roundup Rodeo Barbecue at Disney's Hollywood Studios opened last March, you were able to order 4 sides of your choosing from their menu of 8 options. But earlier this year, we found out the sides menu has shrunk down to 5 sides that are brought out to your table at the same time. Now your side options are only the claw veggie slaw, cowpoke corn on the cob, potato barrels, buck and baked beans, and Slinky Dog mac and cheese, meaning the mean old potato salad, the married spuds, loaded potato barrels, and Forcefield fried pickles have been voted off the plastic toy island. You can't get those anymore. Meanwhile, over at Chicken Guy in Disney Springs, the big appeal of having 22 different dipping sauces to choose from to go along with your tendies is now way less appealing since the sauce count has dropped from 22 to 10. More than half of the sauces are gone. The big takeaway here is that Disney menus don't and won't stay the same. Sometimes they shrink, sometimes they expand, and sometimes they rotate out, replacing one type of item with another. We'll keep you in the loop on the daily when we come across these types of menu changes, no matter how big or how sneaky they might be. We actually write a blog post every single week on Disney Food Blog telling you every single menu change that has happened in Disney World that week. Yes, we keep track of them all, and that's all on our newsletter. You can sign up for our newsletter. It's free, and you'll get to see all of those menu changes every single week. But even on top of all that juicy Disney info we're going to fill you up with, it's important to not completely rely on a Disney menu to have the items you were looking forward to trying. Always have Plan B menu items stowed in the back of your brain, or even have some backup restaurants planned that you might want to switch out to at the last second if you're able to, because Disney's restaurants do change those menus, and there's been many times I've been burned, really wanted to try something, and then it's gone before I get there. So I can tell you right now that having your whole travel group under the same My Disney Experience account is going to make your vacation way less stressful. That means you're all going to be able to book dining reservations together, get virtual queues together, snag lightning lanes together, and not have to worry about the reservations syncing up across several different accounts. Because how sad would it be if half of your group got a virtual queue for the newest Tiana's Bayou Adventure ride when it opens, and the other half didn't? Like, that'd be so awkward, right? So how exactly do you connect those already existing friends and family accounts to one single My Disney Experience account? Okay, when you want to add friends and family, which you can access through the My Family and Friends feature on the website, you can search for someone by their name, phone number, and email address, just as long as they've chosen to make themselves searchable. This is brand new this year. They did not have this as an option a while back. So if you had trouble linking everybody up before and having to get those approval emails and blah, 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 it's gotten much, much easier, y'all. I promise. All you got to do is click the allow option when asked if you'd like to allow others to find you. And get this, there's even a guests you may know feature that has a list of those who shared their family and friends list with other mutual Disney friends of yours. So it's gotten so much easier, and I'm so happy. I'm going to talk about after-hours events a few different times during today's video because I love them. I love them a lot. And I know they're not for everyone, but I like having the option to go to the parks later on when everyone else has left, and I can get on the rides without waiting forever or having to deal with all the crowds or the Genie Plus hassle or the sun beating down on me. I think after-hours events are the best thing ever. So I'm glad that after-hours events are coming back to the parks in 2024 too. After hours are only available at select parks on certain dates throughout the year, which you can find over at the Disney World website. Just search for after hours. Typically, you'll be able to enter the park with just an after hours ticket a couple of hours before the event actually kicks off, so you get some bonus hours in there. And then once the festivities commence, you'll be able to hang out in the park for an extra 3 hours after that. Times will vary depending on which parks you're going to and what night you're planning on visiting. But anyway, there's more to do during the after hours events than just skipping over giant ride lines. You can also meet rare characters at some of the events. When we went to the Hollywood Studios after hours event at the beginning of January, we were able to meet characters we hardly ever see nowadays, and the lines were non-existent. Duffy, Pocahontas and Meeko, the White Rabbit from Alice in Wonderland. You could just walk up to them and hang out. So if you're big on character meet and greets, an after hours ticket might be even more worth it for you and your family. We want you to get the new Disney stuff as quickly as possible without having to push your way past those bottlenecked pathways. So let me show you our favorite secret entrances that'll spit you out right where the latest and greatest offerings reside. First, if you're trying to get to Remy's Ratatouille Adventure in Epcot, use the International Gateway. This is the backdoor entrance of Epcot. The International Gateway isn't really a secret, but folks forget they don't always have to scan in at the main entrance of the park. If you're staying at a Skyliner resort, take the Skyliner to Epcot and walk through the back. The International Gateway will lead you right on into the World Showcase between the France and UK pavilions. Now, if you're trying to get to Tron Light Cycle Run, try the Wishing Well path. In Magic Kingdom, you can take a left at the back of Cinderella Castle in Fantasyland and find the path that passes the Wishing Well to get to Tomorrowland. There's rarely anyone back there with the exception of overflow from the meet and greets in Fairy Tale Garden, so it's a great place for photos and a faster way to Tomorrowland, especially when you're coming from certain locations in Fantasyland. And if you're trying to get to Roundup Rodeo Barbecue in Hollywood Studios, don't forget that Galaxy's Edge has a direct path that connects to Toy Story Land as well. There's hardly anyone back at this connecting path, so traveling to one land from the other feels almost like you've stumbled upon a teleportation portal. It's also very weird because Galaxy's Edge transitioning into Toy Story Land, you can't get much different than that. Ooh, I've got a tip that will let you see 2 fireworks shows in one night. And you get to go to after hours too, which again, you know I love. So you guys remember Disney Enchantment, right? Or at least you've heard about it. If you need a quick refresher, Disney Enchantment was the fireworks show that first premiered back in 2021 for Disney World's 50th anniversary. I remember it well because I was at that media event wearing heels, which was a bad choice, and my feet were absolutely killing me. I ended up having to take my shoes off, which is gross, I know, but I had to take them off while the fireworks were happening because I just could not handle having those heels on anymore. Anyway, TMI. This is the fireworks show that temporarily replaced Happily Ever After in Magic Kingdom. So the show ran for the 18-month duration of the anniversary celebrations and ended in early 2023 so that Happily Ever After could come back. Hooray. But it didn't actually completely end. Not really. If you purchase a separate ticket for Magic Kingdom's After Hours party, you will get the chance to see Disney Enchantment during the event. But here's the neato part about that. While the event itself runs from 10 p.m. to 1 a.m. on select nights between January 11th to April 8th, you can enter the park as early as 7 p.m. with your after hours ticket. That means you'll still be able to enter the park in time to see Happily Ever After during regular park hours. So you get 2 different Magic Kingdom nighttime spectaculars in one evening without having to pay for a regular day ticket if you don't want to. That's a hack worth taking advantage of. Now, here's how to get more out of your Disney food dollar. Disney dining is great, but Disney dining plus VIP-like treatment, even better, right? So select Disney parks have specialty dining packages that you can purchase to amp up your restaurant game. Not only will these dining packages give you a nice meal at one of the park restaurants, but they're also going to hook you up with preferred seating for one of the shows or nighttime spectaculars. Now, this is really, really cool, especially during those really busy days. Some of these dining packages are now Disney Dining Plan eligible. Epcot's dining packages for their festival concert series, as well as Hollywood Studios' Fantasmic dining packages, are now part of the Disney Dining Plan realm for standard dining plan purchases. While the amount of credits you'll have to spend on these dining packages depends on what restaurant you choose, fancier restaurants, more credits, most restaurants are only going to cost you 1 table service credit per person, which is different than how the dining packages used to work, since they all used to be 2 credits across the board. So this way you can basically spend the same amount on a restaurant for dinner and get specialty seating for one of the fireworks shows or whatever afterwards. Again, you'll still need to make advanced dining reservations for these packages before you get there, but if you do manage to snag one of them, then you just might be able to stretch your dining plan credits even further than before by tacking on a meal and getting specialty seating for an anticipated show. It's a great deal. Now, this is a new one for us. We haven't been recommending this before, but now we are. It is never too early to start thinking about Halloween and the holidays, right? Right. You might think it is, but when it comes to nailing down tickets for those after-hours parties, they tend to sell out a little faster than they used to, so we want you to be prepared and ready to go, even if you have to buy tickets like several months in advance. Sales for Magic Kingdom's specialty event, Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party, usually go on sale in like April, May. In 2023, the tickets went on sale on April 27th for people who had resort reservations and on May 2nd for everybody else. Ooh, there's another tip. Get a hotel reservation, then you can book the day you want sooner. And in 2022, the tickets went on sale on May 12th for those with hotel reservations and May 18th for everyone else. So in late March or early April, start watching closely for announcements that'll let you know when you can snag your Halloween party tickets. We'll, of course, have those updates in our newsletter if you join up on that one. Magic Kingdom's other holiday event, Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party, they follow a similar suit. The past 2 years, ticket sales for this party have gone live at the end of June for guests with a resort reservation and at the beginning of July for everybody else. So there's a very good possibility that the same trend could happen in 2024, if those dates aren't even earlier. This is a great, great tip that's brand new on the My Disney Experience app for Disney Genie Plus. When you're using Disney Genie Plus, which of course is that system that lets you pay some money to get shorter lines, you're not going to want to spend a whole lot of time sifting through the rides that don't have lightning lanes, right? So how do you know what rides are part of Genie Plus and which ones aren't? Let me introduce you to a friendly little toggle option that Disney recently released a few months back. The Lightning Lane toggle is featured at the top of the tipboard section of the app, and all you have to do is tap it to turn it on or off. That's it. If you leave it off, you'll be able to see all the rides in the park that you're visiting, including the ones that use Genie Plus, the ones that use individual Lightning Lanes, and the ones that don't use either. But if you toggle that switch on, it'll limit the list to only the rides that are included in the regular Genie Plus service. Note, this is a big, big caveat for this one. It's not going to show you rides that use individual lightning lanes only. So if you are looking for individual, this caught me off guard when I was using this toggle switch because I wanted to book an individual lightning lane and it didn't show them. And so I was freaked out because I'm like, they didn't already all sell out, did they? Of course they didn't. It's just not included when you have the toggle switch on. So if you want an individual lightning lane, you're going to need to untoggle and look at all the rides. But if you just want Genie Plus so that you can figure out which one you want to book your next lightning lane for, go ahead and use that toggle and it's going to filter out all of the noise. Here's a new tip for Tron. It happens. You open your free Tron locker with your physical park ticket, you stow all your belongings safely inside, you close your locker, and you suddenly realize you closed your park ticket in there too. Now, how are you going to reopen your locker? Fortunately, you're not going to be the first person to make this little slip up, nor are you going to be the last. But nearby cast members are used to this and they're happy to help you out. Just track down one of the cast members holding a tablet and let them know what happened. They'll ask you which locker number you used, and then they'll ask you to describe the contents that are inside the locker for safety reasons. After you can give a general description of what you've got shoved into that itty-bitty living space, the cast member will reopen your Tron locker for you, and the day is saved. So don't stress out, just find a cast member and they'll fix any problem that you have when it comes to your Tron lockers. Now, this next tip is one that I use regularly when I'm in Disney World all the time. You can find literally anything on that Disney World app, but you have to know where to look. So the wait time map featured in the My Disney Experience app is a glorious thing, but it does way more than just show you how long the Seven Dwarfs Mine Train line is, or remind you that It's Tough to Be a Bug is literally a walk-on because nobody likes it. I'm just kidding. Don't come at me, Flick and Hopper fans. I know you're already pre-mourning the loss, and I'm not here to pour salt on an open wound. I'm sorry. Now, the Wait Times app can also tell you about other important park things, like where you can take a PhotoPass picture, or where you can find an ATM, or where you can track down the nearest bathroom in the case of a bathroom emergency, which I have personally had in Disney World. That's especially important when there's construction going on and a certain bathroom you thought you could rely on is down for the count. Now, when you're on the My Disney Experience app and looking at the wait times map, tap on the drop-down arrow next to the wait times title. Then you'll be able to view a variety of options like characters, dining, entertainment, restrooms, PhotoPass, guest services, and more, all right there on the map. It's all going to be there for you, and you can change to different categories and see those things reflected on the maps. Super, super useful. Ooh, there's another new My Disney Experience app addition that I want to tell you about, especially if you're one of those countdown people. Are you Team Destination or Team Journey? Because I know there are some of y'all out there who are just as hyped about the anticipation leading up to your trip as you are about the trip itself. Me too. So thanks to another new MDE app addition, Disney's going to help feed into that anticipation. If you've got an upcoming hotel stay, there's a Disney Citizen countdown clock right in the app that'll help you count down to your trip for you. To find it, go to the My Disney Experience home screen, scroll down to your upcoming resort reservation on that screen, and tap on it. Voila! The clock should appear at the top of your screen. Now, I probably don't have to twist your arm to get you to check into your Disney hotel as soon as possible. After all, I know y'all are just itching to get your 2024 vacation started like right now, same. But just in case you need some more convincing, checking into your resort early means there's a possibility that you might be able to get into your room early as well. Typically, rooms will be prepared and ready for guests by 3 p.m. or 4 p.m., depending on where you're staying. But if you start your check-in process via the My Disney Experience app, which can start as early as 60 days before your arrival, then you can actually select an option on the app that lets the front desk know you'll be arriving at your resort early. While this doesn't for sure guarantee your room will be ready before 3 p.m., it does increase your chances of it being ready before. Plus, an early check-in also means you get first dibs at room requests. Again, room requests aren't guaranteed, but you might have a better chance at getting what you asked for if you ask early. And for the record, even if you arrive at your resort early and your room still isn't ready before 3 p.m., that doesn't mean you can't start taking advantage of the amenities right away. Drop off your luggage with Bell Services and get to your vacation. You can even take a dip in the pool or use your first Disney dining plan credits of your trip if you're using that dining plan. And that's right, even before your room is ready for you, you can still use your DDP credits, the pool, everything else that's at your resort. Go for it, or just head into the parks. Ooh, I've got a secret virtual queue drop for you. Virtual queues are stressful. Yes, they go live daily, once at 7 a.m. and once at 1 p.m. But if you miss them, you miss them, and they book up super fast. I'm talking sometimes within seconds of releasing, they're gone. But if you're planning on attending Magic Kingdom's or Epcot's extended evening hours, or even one of their after-hours events, you might have a third chance to get into one of those virtual queues. After-hours guests will be able to enter into a third virtual queue right at 6 p.m. While you don't have to physically be in the park to snag this third virtual queue, much like you don't have to be in the park for that 7 a.m. drop. You do have to be in there for one, though. You do need to make sure you've got a valid after-hours ticket or a valid deluxe resort reservation already attached to your My Disney Experience account. Okay, y'all, Journey of Water, inspired by Moana, is already such an underrated attraction, even though it only opened up in Epcot this past October. It's cute, it's immersive, and there are plenty of ways you can interact with the living waters of this walkthrough. I love it. It's super zen and chill. But with that being said, you may be hesitant to try this one if you're planning on traveling during Orlando's cooler months. but don't be. Throughout Journey of Water, it's up to you how wet you get or how dry you stay. In the land section, for example, you can walk through a waterfall. Walk slowly and the water will split around you like magic, but walk quickly and you'll get sprinkled. There are also designated portions of Journey of Water that are labeled as dry paths. Essentially, these are parts of the walkthrough where the path splits in two and you can observe from a drier place without getting into all the wet features. So if getting wet is not your thing, don't be concerned. You can still appreciate all this area has to offer from a safe, non-soggy distance. Okay, it stinks that folks who are traveling to Hollywood Studios during the first half of this year won't be able to ride Rock and Roller Coaster, since Rock and Roller Coaster will be closed for maintenance until this summer. But you know what they say, when life gives you lemons, make a private bathroom for yourself. That's right. They say that all the time, right? Okay. So since guests are pretty much avoiding the Rock and Roller Coaster area right now, considering there's not much over there for them, the Rock and Roller Coaster bathrooms are a ghost town, meaning private potty time for you. This is just a good rule of thumb in general, though. If an attraction's closed, then the bathroom next to said attraction will most likely be deserted, giving you plenty of extra privacy. By the way, this goes for rides that are shut down temporarily, too. Even if they're shut down for rain or whatever, then nobody's going to be over there. And so you got a free bathroom. And since we're already on the subject of ride closures, let's talk about the vulture method. Sometimes a ride in Disney may go down for a brief period of time during the day for technical difficulties or weather. While you can never pinpoint how long a ride closure is going to last when this happens, what you can do is hang out around the area where that ride is located, or just keep checking your My Disney Experience app and hit up some other nearby attractions. Keep an eye on the status of that ride closure through your My Disney Experience app, because as soon as that ride goes back online again, that's your chance to jump into the queue while it's still relatively empty and before all the other guests realize that it's back open. We've done this before with Remy's Ratatouille Adventure. While it was down, we grabbed a pastry over at Les Halles Boulangerie Patisserie, watched the Beauty and the Beast sing-along show, and by the time the show was out, the ride was back on, and I only had to wait for like 15 minutes. Of course, this is also a game of chance in the end, since the timing of a reopening won't always play in your favor and you might waste a bunch of other time you could be doing other stuff. But when it does work, you can reap the benefits. So after the pandemic, pin trading changed quite a bit. Instead of being able to trade with cast members wearing pin lanyards, you had to stick with pin trading strictly on the limited number of pin boards you might see around the parks. And honestly, that's still mostly the case, except if you decide to pin trade around Disney Springs. At the end of last year, select merchandise locations in Springs reverted back to the good old days of pin trading, meaning you may be able to trade directly with cast members wearing lanyards, although some may still have pin boards too. Ready for even more good news? Disney's also promised that this form of pin trading will return to even more merchandise locations throughout the resort this year. Just keep in mind that if you want to trade with a cast member wearing a pin lanyard, you need to ask them first. You can't just reach and take whatever pin you want off their lanyard. But I promise that just as long as you're trading with an authentic Disney pin, a cast member will be more than happy to swap with you if you find that one of their pins is even better than the one you have. So if you haven't used Kroger Delivery yet in Disney World, I'm about to show you a whole new world of convenience. Kroger Delivery is a great way to pick up food and snacks and drinks, so you don't have to keep paying for all of that at the Disney restaurants over and over and paying a ton more. You can also get last-minute necessities through the app too, like diapers and sunscreen and Band-Aids and formula, you name it. And you're going to love this. If you aren't already using the Kroger app for deliveries, new customers can get $15 off each of their first 3 orders. So that's $45 worth of savings. Just remember, much like any grocery delivery service in Orlando, it'll still take some time to get to your resort to drop off your stuff at Bell Services. So if you need something ASAP, you may still want to check out your hotel's gift shop for those more immediate purchases. Don't forget to splurge on the big coffee. You may typically get the smaller Starbucks drink if you're wanting to save a couple bucks on vacation, but when you're using the Disney dining plan and all your stuff's already prepaid, go big. All Starbucks drinks featured around the Disney parks cost 1 snack credit, whether you get the tall, the grande, the venti, or the Trenta size. So stretch that snack credit, my dudes, and get the bigger coffee size. Even if you don't want that big of a coffee, you can always use your refillable mug that you'll also get along with your Disney dining plan to save the rest of it for later. And don't forget to test the light cycles. Okay, Tron is still the newest coaster in Disney World, so your 2024 vacation might mean it's your first time riding it in Magic Kingdom. If that's the case, then you need to know what you're getting yourself into. The regular Tron light cycle run seats are like sitting on a motorcycle, very similar to how you sit during the Flight of Passage ride in Animal Kingdom. If you're not sure this kind of seating is going to work for you, you don't have to wait until the last minute to find out. There's a test light cycle seat at the start of the queue that you're more than welcome to try out. If you try the test light cycle and learn that this seat setup is so not going to work for you, that doesn't mean you have to skip the ride. Just let a cast member know at the front of the attraction that you'd like to use the adaptive seating option instead. The cast member will take you aside so you can wait for a train that features these non-light cycle seats. Nope, the sadness we have about the free Disney's Magical Express service going away is not a new type of pain. But the way you get from the Orlando International Airport over to your Disney resort today is different than it was before. So let's walk through how you can book your ride on the Mears Connect Driven by Sunshine together. To book your seat on one of these shuttles, just head over to the Mears Connect website and choose the Reserve Now option. Then you'll fill out 3 different sections. Section 1, choose which service you prefer, the Standard or Express. Standard service is the cheaper option of the two, with monitored wait times and limited stops, while the Express service is the pricier option but will provide you with a more direct round trip to your resort. Section 2, insert your ride details. You will need to input your flight details to make the reservation, so don't try putting the cart before the horse, or in this case, the bus before the plane. Purchase your flight first, then come back and get your shuttle details all sorted out. In Section 3, add your payment info, and you're good to go. So great news. Disney World hires trained allergy chefs and cast members in each of their restaurants to make sure your dining experience is as tasty as it is safe. Now, we get a lot of comments about allergy-friendly food, and we have got tons of information for you. So if you're looking for some good gluten-free items to put on your upcoming must-try itinerary, here are some specific options you may want to check out that are either A, naturally gluten-free, or B, can be made gluten-free upon request. First, the grilled shrimp skewers or grilled salmon at Columbia Harbor House in Magic Kingdom, the Le Cellier Signature Poutine at Epcot, the Ronto Wrap at Ronto Roasters in Hollywood Studios, shrimp and grits at Tiffin's in Animal Kingdom, the classic fish and chips at Cooks of Dublin in Disney Springs, the bacon and Vermont cheddar burger at Ale and Compass in Disney's Yacht Club, and of course my favorite, you can get gluten-free rolls substituted for my favorite prime rib sliders at Cruise Cup Lounge. Thank you to viewer Harry Peterson for finding out that info for us. Plus, so many more. You can find gluten-free items on the Disney menus ahead of your trip just by checking them out online or on your My Disney Experience app. There are also other allergy-friendly items clearly listed on most of these menus as well for allergy concerns like shellfish, nut, and the like. All of those menus have allergy-friendly menus noted where they're going to tell you what you can eat and what you can't eat based on your allergy. But the most important thing you can do before you order is let your server or a cast member know that you do have a certain allergy that needs to be accommodated. They will bring out a chef to talk to you specifically and figure out what's going to be the best choice for you. Now, on a more serious note, major emergencies do happen even at Disney World. So if an unexpected medical emergency happens during your park day, whether it's allergy related or not, Disney wants you to call 911 with no hesitation whatsoever. But you do have another option you can turn to if you need to. If there's a reason you can't call 911, whether that be because you're unable to speak or you have a hearing impairment or there's a language barrier and you need to use a translator app to communicate, you can text 911 from Disney World instead. While texting 911 isn't available in every county across Florida, it is available in the counties in which Disney falls. The only Florida counties you can't text 911 from are Miami-Dade, Hendry, and Holmes, but Disney falls between Orange and Osceola counties, which do have that 911 texting option available. So while I hope this is never advice you need to use during your vacation, just know that you can call or text 911 in the case of a life-threatening emergency. So some of those 2024 popcorn buckets are going to be really popular this year. So popular that you might even see a ginormous line of people just waiting to purchase one. And that's not because these guests are out of their mind stoked to get their hands on $2.25 popcorn refills. Select popcorn buckets are limited release. So collectors are on the hunt and they take that hunt very seriously. If you want to pick up a certain popcorn bucket, but you don't necessarily want to deal with the physical line of people in order to get it, you may be able to save time by ordering it through the My Disney Disney Experience app when you're in the parks. Not all popcorn buckets will be available for mobile order, but some will, because Disney's trying to avoid that whole Figment popcorn bucket fiasco that we saw happen in 2022, which led to 6-hour popcorn bucket lines. Ordering a popcorn bucket from a select quick service works the exact same way that mobile ordering food works. You'll select the restaurant, choose your arrival return time, and select the popcorn bucket option. They also have other souvenir containers like sippers and stuff on their mobile order menus. Then when it's time to go collect your popcorn bucket or whatever you ordered, you'll head over to the designated pickup area and claim it. See, this is what we call playing chess instead of checkers. So you can live out your bougie Disney dreams without paying the intimidating prices for it, thanks to Disney World's Swan and Dolphin resorts. It's time to stay deluxe on a budget. The Swan and Dolphin are good neighbor hotels that reside right next to each other and are both within walking distance to Epcot and Hollywood Studios. The best part about staying at either one of these locations, you'll still get early theme park entry as well as extended evening hours, which are usually only reserved for Disney's Deluxe Resort guests. Standard Disney Deluxe rooms typically have starting prices that range around $500 plus per night, but when you stay at Swan and Dolphin, a night at the Swan starts at around $240, while the Dolphin could run you around $260. So while these aren't cheap rooms, they are definitely less expensive than what you're going to find at those Disney Deluxe resorts, but you still get the same quality and the same perks. 50 points later, and we've reached the end of the video already. But don't be blue. We've got so many more tips waiting for you. Oh, that rhymed. And don't forget, if you want that free list of our best 2024 Disney World snacks, be sure to head over to disneyfoodblog.com/best snacks, and we're going to send it straight to your email faster than you can say, reach out and find your happily ever after. Thanks for listening, everyone, and thanks for watching. As always, this is AJ for Disney Food Blog, and we'll see you real soon.